YouTube, what's going on? Back another week, another great week so far, so good. Like I said, pick back up. Got a lot of new customers this week. I don't know, this one particular customer went to this gym, and I swear if this gym, I've gotten 3 customers already from that gym within the month. I'm like, that's great. So I was like, and I actually, the lady texted me before, because that person from the gym gave her my cell phone number, but luckily my cell phone, which is my work cell phone, soon as the voicemail comes on, it directs them to call my 1-800 number, because I always tell people you can call me, but there's no guarantee you're gonna get me. That's one thing vital. I made myself more unreachable, because once the customer can reach you all the time, it really puts a lot of strain on you, like, you know. So that's what, you know, is crucial. And I'm gonna have another video coming up with my wife again. I wanted to touch on some more things, more aspects on the business. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It might be this week, who knows. Like I said, busy. And so yeah, that's another thing too. Is just it's vital to have somebody that answer your phone. I don't know, I stress it because to me that was the big game changer for my business, was adding her to the, or I would say for you guys, adding anybody to answer your phone. That's great and personable. And because, man, like, once I get into the house, they're already like, it's like the ice has already been broken already. Say it like that. Like, oh, the girl on the phone was so nice and so, you know, it's just, some of the times they'll ask, is that your wife? And some of the times, you know, she's great. And like I said, I can't stress enough how much that's helped my business grow so far. So yeah, I've made myself unreachable for customers. So as soon as my voicemail comes on, this is Mike. You've reached my personal cell phone. I'm possibly on a job. Please call my 1-800 number, and you know, I'll say the number so they know what it is. And so this lady, the last lady from this gym, she's like, oh, my refrigerator's not cooling. I heard you were the greatest out here. And mind you, these are older people, like, I mean, up in age. I don't want to assume too, but, you know, older than 40, you know, it could be older than 50, but around the older people. So my whole thing is just like, I had to make sure I took care of all these customers. And I can say all those customers I got from that, I took care of them, squared away, fixed. And it feels good to just acquire customers, not through ads or warranty companies, or that's just another aspect of Appliance Repair that I love. It's so funny. I just was talking to some of my other friends in the business, you know, other techs, and we were just talking about just the things that you know, the rough days that we have, you know, is just. And yeah, I might touch on it and make a video about the things I don't like about Appliance Repair and all that. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But just to elaborate on that a little bit, it's just, with anything you do out here, it's gonna be good days and bad days, and it just goes off of don't quit, keep going, and you can, you know, enjoy life. I mean, right now, it is 3:20. I was finished at about 3. So my last job I was finishing wasn't far, and now I'm headed to pick up my daughter from school. So, and things that I wasn't really able to do that much when I was working for a company, I would still be working right now. You know, luckily the company I was working for, they were understanding about my schedule and my, you know, picking up my kid when I needed to, so it wasn't that big a deal. Plus I had a van, so it wasn't nothing to get her between jobs. But, you know, I can get her, I can chill, I don't have to rush to another job, I can, you know, and that's another thing too. My child is old enough to know when I was working for a company, and now she's old enough to see me and my business, and she always says, man, it's so good that you started your own business. Like, you can do so much more things, and I can't stress that enough. But you know, as I was talking to my my other tech friends, we were just like, you know, you put in the time. I put the time in to get where I'm at, and it doesn't come easy. You gotta you know, shout out to the guy who was leaving me some comments. I think his name is Kyle. I can't, but he's asking me about my tool videos and about the tools that I have. And I was just telling him, you know, watch a lot of videos. I don't want to say there's just a set of tools you need to have for appliance repair, because there is the basic hand tools. That's first. It's the basic, you know, tools you would need. You know, screwdriver, Phillips, flathead, multimeter. You know, I've done a video so you guys know what I have in my bag. But I guarantee you, there's no other tech out there who has exactly what I have in my bag, and I don't have exactly what they have in their bag. It's just so different. So you gotta really watch everything, learn from everybody, formulate your own, you know, compilate your own tools, and make sure you acquire the knowledge you need to succeed. So, yeah. So, I did want to talk about again, you know, social media too. Social media has been a big help to me, not only just I guess expanding people that see me, and you know, customers follow me too, but just the help that I get, or even the comments I get on my Instagram from other techs, and you know, it's all love, and it's all, and that's one thing, you gotta be able to take criticism and opinions, because no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm always down to hey, if I'm doing something wrong, tell me, you know, because I might not know if I'm doing it wrong or not. Or, I mean, certain things are apparent. You know you're doing it wrong, but there might be a better way. So, yeah, man, it's just, I can't speak enough. Like I said, it's picking back up more and more. I'm getting more customers generically. Like I said, it's always good to watch everybody on here, and you know, like TMM I watched this video. Well, yeah, I guess it's TMM's network, but it was David in this video on the business side of it, and that really helped me. You know, just learning more things. So you guys got to just, you know, watch other stuff. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Everybody wants to be successful out here. We just want to win. And I'm doing whatever I got to do to win. And, you know, if you don't want to get left behind, I know I don't want to get left behind. There's certain things that I want to put my energy into. Shout out to Mike Miner, Up Around the Appliance. That's my homie. You know, just expanding your mind. Because once you get into appliance repair, there's so much other things you can do. But you have to master this first. You have to have this down to where, you know, another shout out to Mike, minimizing your losses. So, you know, minimizing your, because whenever you minimize your losses, your gains have to go up. So, yeah. Yeah, shout out to you, Mike, for that one. I always gonna shout out where I get my sources from, you know. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to check in this week. I'm gonna come back with another video. Yeah, recently, I still haven't got my van wrapped. I need to do that. It's just not enough time in the day sometimes, and you know, dealing with a lot of the companies that I deal with, the paperwork that I have to do when I get in, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not easy because the more work you do, the more calls you do, the more paperwork you're gonna have. Not for COD, but just warranty. And I mean, COD, there's some aspect to it, but not really. I mean, it's nothing compared to doing warranty paperwork. I'll say that much. Nothing. So shout out to all the guys who do COD and no warranty at all. Shout out to the guys that are getting into the warranty, and you know, and just trying to see how to test in the waters and seeing what's what, because everybody's experience will be different, but take it from me and take it from a lot of people that have spoken about this. It's not easy. There will be times when you have to, you're not going to get paid enough. It's frustration. Those, I guess that's another aspect of appliance repair that you're not going to like. And the same things, like I said, I have a lot of videos so far. I didn't realize how much videos. I'll just put them up and keep it moving. But a lot of information about what goes on day to day. I can't even remember it. All of this is just off the top of my mind. So whatever I say, if it's a repeat from something else, hey, it is what it is. So, but with that said, I appreciate all the people that do watch and take what I have to say into consideration when they want to implement it into their business. There's a couple of questions that I wanted to answer from people that ask me certain things, and I feel like the biggest one is pay. And I feel like they're scared to charge people a certain amount, and I don't want to say scared, or just feel like, hey, it's not worth that, or they don't want to not. It's like sales, I guess. They don't want to finish the sale. They want to complete the call. They want to make sure they're not overcharging, because even if the customer does pay, they don't want to have a bad reputation saying, hey, they're expensive. So for me, I'm gonna go back and say I've always, and I was just explaining this to my wife the other day, because like I said, sometimes we don't do much quoting over the phone, but to keep certain new customers, she might say, oh, it's this, our service call, 85 plus the part or whatever, and it goes toward the first hour labor, whatever the case may be. And I have to tell her to word it a little differently, to say the labor goes, that service call goes towards the labor, depending on what it is. And the technician, I'm her technician, so she's like, the technician will determine what that is when he gets there, because if it's, I don't know what I'm getting myself into once I get there, so I determine that. So once I complete calls, I call her and say, hey, I charge this much on this call, or I charge that much on this call, or just to give her an idea of what type of labor rates I'm charging on top of my and like I said, certain calls, it was a dryer call, a Kenmore, no, I'm sorry, it was a Maytag Bravo's dryer, but it was old, and the guy, he just was like, it's not, I want to see if it can get fixed, can you come out and look at it? And he agreed to the service call and whatnot. So, and as I'm there and seeing what it needed, it's an old dryer, it looked beat up, it's like, he's already getting a new washer. My minimum at that point to me would be like 125, usually like 130. It was like 130 on that call, but plus the whatever I charge them for the part. As long as I'm making the minimum on certain, especially if the call was an idle pulley, or I think I charged them like, actually I made a little bit more because I marked up the part. The part didn't cost, I already had it on the van, so the part might have cost me $5 or something. I might have charged them $25 for it. And so whatever, I might have made like 140, 50 on the job. But like, what I'm trying to say is, and this is what I'm trying to say to you guys, is that that's my minimum I need per call. 150 pure profit, net profit, without parts, anything. I need 150 for myself, for my business to keep going. That's not total call, that's not and that's minimum, like I'm saying, because most jobs I'll make more than that, depending on what the part is. I make a lot of, because I will charge customers the retail, the part that they can go to Mark Honan or whatever to get. Usually I'll charge them that, or sometimes I'll mark it up maybe $10. So depending on what part it is and how far I am to go get it and bring it back, and I consider all that stuff. And if it has to be shipped, and if it's charging me shipping fee, those kind of things you have to take in consideration. That's why I guess not a lot of people talking about the pricing, or they go towards or point you towards the blue book, because each company is going to do things differently. You know, I'm going to do things differently from, you know, like my group of friends who are techs. I'm going to do things differently from them. So they might do, I mean, it might be similar in a way, but, you know, they might say my minimum needs to be 200 per call, or my minimum needs to be this. So everybody's different. Like, I get a lot of calls through warranty. I get a lot of calls through, like I said, not a lot, but I'm getting my calls through Google and Yelp, and then now I'm getting just COD referrals with people. And, you know, it's just the only thing I can say is that when it comes to warranty companies and me saying that you're not going to get, I've been with a lot of them for years. I've had pay raises. I do make a good amount with these warranty companies now since I've been in business, and I've made myself a preferred vendor, meaning like you're always replaceable, but I consistently have the same customers requesting me when they're calling in. Even if you guys work with Choice, they don't do that, but I always have customers that force them, like, you got to send it to this company, and they'll call me and say, hey, can you accept this work order? So I get a lot of that, and that's what you want to do. And I think the key is being nice to people. Like, just yesterday, a lady's like, he can't even fix it, but he was mean. Like, you know, a lot of them are irritated when they come here, not just appliance tech, but just technicians in general. So, you know, for the people who want to get into the business, you know, that's why I'm like, if you don't know, if you're not a customer service person, but you're handy, I would have to try it first, because you might not want to deal with, you have to be in people's intimate places. You know, you have to when I go into homes, I make it my job to make sure they feel safe in their own home with a stranger in it. You know, if you get what I'm trying to say, like, I'm part of the family. Hey, what's going on? I'm a long lost cousin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make them feel like they want me back in their home. So that's the whole point why I feel like I get a lot of return customers. And what I will say is the growth and the success I'm seeing from that type of attitude is paying off. And like I said, shout out to DC. He had a video when he was talking about planting seeds. You plant seeds, you know, will eventually come into fruition. You know, that's just how it goes. I really do believe in that, because I kind of had my business mindset or plan based on me giving out as many cards as I can as possible, so they can get passed around, so people can call. Because I don't know if you guys know, but I continuously get, I don't have a good guy that comes, or I had a guy, but he's not in this area anymore, or whatever the case may be. So with that said, when it comes to pricing, just make sure you're covering your expenses. You might not have a van like mine. Your van might be paid off and you're paying $150 in insurance. You might not have to charge as much as I do at this point, but you still want to make money. There is a limit to charge. You don't want to just do work for free, but at the same time, like I said, my service call is $85. Some people's is $65. Some people's $55, $75. Some people $125. It all depends on where you're located. And like where I'm at, it tends to be, you know, middle class, and some areas are upper middle class. So I haven't got any negative feedback from my service calls. So it's been going good since I raised it. I started out with 65 because my mindset was a little differently. I was trying to get into the door, and then I realized what my worth was out here. How I'm like, I'm doing, you know, why, not just me noticing it, but my wife will tell me, she's like, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, why you say that? She's like, because a lot of stuff that you do, a lot of people won't do, or they can't fix. And it doesn't make, because she asks, like, you work on gas this? I'm like, yeah, you know, you work on. She's like, that's crazy. You know, it just reminds me of how much people don't work on gas here in Florida. You know, it's just, you know, and I'm not saying I got trained in gas, and shout out to Chris, we were just talking about this too. I had to teach myself how to learn. You know, even when I was working with a company, they didn't work on gas. So when I started my own business, I made it my goal to work on gas. That was my goal. I worked on it here and there when I was working in, because we'll run on calls and it was like, oh, it was a gas, we didn't know, but I'm like, hey, I told my boss, hey, I fixed it. And he's like, how? I'm like, he's like, don't usually do it, but I wanted to take that initiative to do it. So when I got it on my own, I made sure I already knew schematics, but when you don't have the appliance in front of you all the time, especially South Florida, we don't have much gas, and when we do have gas, it's just usually propane or natural, some natural gas, but it's just like, yeah, I had to work on gas, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what it was. And when I first started fixing gas, I remember telling my wife, like, yeah, I feel so good, because it's not, in my mind, it wasn't nothing I couldn't do, but once you get it done and complete a call and you got paid for it, it's like, it's everything, So I was just saying, I'm like, you have to I didn't have a mentor, I didn't have social media to say, hey, what do I do in this or what I do in that? I got on YouTube. It was really a lot more reading than YouTube for me, and making sure I understood the because like I said, electric is usually 220 volt, and gas is 110. So I had to learn how the heating cycle worked, what did what sensors did what, and so on and so on. But similar, everything's similar, but the burner is similar, or the heating device, pretty much, timer, lid switch, etc., etc. So then when it comes to stoves, I did work on stoves more than dryers when I did, because there were some times where I knew more about gas stoves than I did actual dryers. So, but I still needed to brush up on everything gas, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm out here, I'm on my own. I don't want to make a bad name for myself, and I wanted to make sure I worked on everything I wanted to work on. That's the one thing that if I decide to do what I want to work on, I'm going to decide to do it. I still don't do dryer vent cleanings, because I have enough, even when it's slow, and like I said in my last video, when it's slow, I'm still doing at least 3 to 4 jobs a day. That's when I'm slow. So some days might be 2, some days might be 3. So yeah, I might be able to try to do, but that's why I made it to the point where I anticipate the slow time, so I have other things in line. I have money put up. I have, where the slow times, they don't usually last long. They never usually last long. Since I've been in business, and I was newer back then. Like I didn't have an online presence. I didn't have as much reviews I did on Google. I didn't have, what I have now, so, just hang in there, like I said in my last video, hang in there. Don't give up, don't quit. You got to command your reality. I tell myself, it's slow, but I'm fine, I'm cool. It'll be back picking up soon. I'm doing whatever I got to do, and the energy and the mindset we have. Like I told you, my wife was like, let's go make flyers, let's put them on people, let's do what we have to do to ensure that we don't fall into a slow time that's longer than a week. The longest slow period I've had doing 3-4 jobs a day, maybe sometimes 5, is 2 weeks, maybe the most. So, and I don't know, that's just how it goes. Usually it's a week, but the most is like 2 weeks. It's been like slow. But when I say normal for me is 6 jobs on an average. Sometimes I have 5, sometimes I have 6, 7. 5 to 7 is normal. When I'm busy, super busy, I always say 7 to 9, 7 to 8. I never try to do 9 jobs anymore unless I have to or I need to. But 8 is the most I try to do, because like I said, I have to do paperwork, and I can do that. That's pretty much it. I didn't start my business to work the same I did when I was, the initial grind was that, but I got to a space where I don't have to do that. And my whole thing is just, everybody that's new, just focus, put your work in, put your effort in. Don't tell yourself that you can't do it. You can do it. You will do it. Just do it. And that's what I have to, I tell myself that every day, make sure I get up and do it. But yeah, I made this video kind of longer than I wanted to, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Shout out to everybody who I missed, if I didn't mention you, all my appliance repair homies. And all the new subscribers, all the people that like and comment, appreciate it. I try to answer everybody's questions, as best as I can. And if I didn't answer your question the best, I think his name's Kyle, like, trust me, you're gonna be fine, man. Don't stress it up. Sometimes you just gotta take in the experience, take in the knowledge, take in everything. Don't make it all about how much money I'm gonna make, how much money I gotta put in. Money. Like, when I first started appliance repair, the main thing I wanted to know, I wanted to learn this. Let me learn this. Yeah, I had a family. Yeah, I needed that money to come in, but I had to make sacrifices. I had to make sure I couldn't spend any money unwillingly. I couldn't do things that I wouldn't do now. But now, it all paid off to where I can spend money on things I want to. So that's why you just, there's levels to life. You have to abide by those levels. You're on level 1. You can't act like you're on level 9. You got to start on level 1. Play up until you get to level 2, level 3. Life is no cheat codes. You can't just jump to the cheat code. Now, what I will say when it comes to that, some people just have a better step ahead. But that's like me as a parent for my child. I'm going to make sure she has a better step ahead in life. So if that's a cheat code, then that's a cheat code. that she's going to start with a 1-up and a star. She's going through the first board like, so that's just how it is. I didn't have that when I was a child, but I will say I had a father that showed me, hey, you don't work, you don't eat. And if you really want it, you'll go out and get it. And if you're a man about your word and your family, you're going to do what you got to do to provide for it. So it is what it is. And you guys take care until the next one.